Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome back, guys. In this video, we are going to learn how to do the hands-on lab on Azure Load Balancer. So, in previous video, we have learned the networking, some of the networking concepts, and in this video, we are going to learn how to configure the Azure Load Balancer. So, before that, we have to see that what is the Azure Load Balancer. So if you are move in this topic, so before that you know that what is the Azure, as you know that this is a public cloud. So inside this this is a networking concept where we can manage the things, manage the topics to the Azure load balancer. So you can see on Google, the definition is an Azure load balancer is a layer 4 that is work on the TCP and UDP protocol, and that provide the high availability. It means that we have the different VMs on the cloud, and you have the traffic from the different regions. So what you have to do, you can distribute the traffic among the healthy VMs. Okay, so this is the basic advantage of the Azure load balancer. So are you guys I hope are you guys getting the idea about the Azure load balancer. So let's get start with the lab. So yeah, let's get started. I'm doing each and every step in the front of you, so don't worry about that. We will start from the beginning and do each and every practical with on front of you. So focus on the screen and follow the step, and you can easily do the lab. So let's start, guys. So for this, you have an you have at least two virtual machines, and after that you have to install the web server on these virtual machines. So let's do that. So go to the home. So if you want to create a virtual machine, so either you can see that there is an option to create to that is having the virtual machine, or you can search in the global search bar virtual machines, and there is an option to create a virtual machine. So I'm going to click here in a virtual machine, and here is an option to create a virtual machine. So I'm going to create an Azure virtual machine. Okay, so it will take some time to open because my system is not too much faster, and it is showing that like that. So if you have a resource group, so you can put on that, otherwise you can create new. There is an option to create new. You can simply create new. The thing that you have to keep in mind, the name that you have to give in the resource group, there is no space and there is no special character. Only you can give the simple name, any name you can give, and you can give the any name to your VM. So I'm giving the name as VM1, and select your region that you want, and there is two option of availability state and availability zone. According to you, I can select yours according to yourself. If you want to do the practical as well as standard as well as basic, so you can select the availability zone. If you want to do the load balancer only basic, so you can select the availability set. So if you want to study the deep about the Azure load balancer, so you can select the availability zone. So in this practical, we are going to learn only the availability set. So I'm selecting this one, and after that you have, if you have already an availability set, so you can select. Otherwise, you can simply click on the create new, and there is an option to only put the name and click on add. There is an option to add. You can see here there is an option to add, so you can add from here, and okay, so it is created. Okay, so AS1 it is created, and you can select according to your shelf. You can select your operating system. So I selected the Windows Server 2016 data center, and as you can see that there is all the things I have to done, and now I have to define the username. So what username you want, you can give according to yourself, and then you have to put the password. Okay, so okay, so okay, So let's you have to give the http and https, because the web server is always access on http and https. So that you have to select these two options also, and then you have to click on next. So you do not any other purpose to install this VM. So you can give everything next, and this is default, everything is selected. We cannot see the things extra. So we have to click on everything next and next, and yeah. So there is a last option to review and create. So if it is validation is passed, so it will simply there is an option to create, so you can create from there. Okay, so yes, you can see that there is a validation pass, so you can create, click on create. So the VM1 is created. So what next step you have to follow? You have to simply create same way the next machine, that is VM2. If we are do the practical of VM2 also in front of you, so it will take some more time. So that's why I'll stop the video, and we have to create the VM2, and then will continue the video. So you can create same way VM2 also. So as you can see that the VM2 is also created. So I'm gonna virtual machines. So there is two virtual machine is created. Okay, so this one is this public IP address, and this one is this public IP address. So I'm gonna open this VM1, and I'm gonna log in through the remote desktop. So okay, I'm gonna MSTSC, you can type in the Windows plus R, and you can type your IP address control B that you have in VM1, and according to that you can connect to the remote desktop. I have to connect it and enter, and it will take some time, and you can type your username and password. Okay, and then password, and you have to enter yes. And same way what you have to do now, so you have to install the web server inside the VM. So how it is done, so let me understand quickly. So there is two options to install the web server. There is one option through the PowerShell, and either you can install through the manually add roles and feature, and where you can add the roles web server. So if you add this feature through the PowerShell, so it will take hardly 1 minute, and if you do that through the manually, so it will take some little more time. So I'm gonna do through the PowerShell. So it is actually helpful for me, so that's why I'll do that. Okay, so I'm gonna here, and you can see that there is an option of Windows PowerShell. I'm gonna click on there, and okay, so I'll selected actually only 3.5 GB ROMs, so that's why it will lagging sometime. So the speed is also not good, so not a problem, we can do this. So here what you have to do, you have to type install Windows feature, install, okay, install hyphen Windows feature. Same code you have to write, otherwise it will create the some problem, hyphen name, and then you have to type the name that you have, that is web server. Okay, web server, web, and then after you have to put the hyphen and server. Okay, web server, and then after that space hyphen, and then include. Always you have to type first letter of any word in capital. Include management tool. include, no space is needed, management tool. Okay, include management tool and press hit enter. So it will take some time and it is automatically install the, like it is collecting the data. So as you can say that this is fast as compared to the manual. So it is 24% is still completed. Same way you can do in the next VM, that is VM2. Okay, so I'm done in VM1 and you can do in VM2 by yourself. So let me wait until it is not completed, and then we have to configure some files in the inside the VM. Okay, so it will take some time. So as you can see that this is success. So the web server is installed here. So I'm gonna close this option, and then also I'm gonna close this option. Go to the file explorer. Okay, go to the file explorer, and there is an inside and directory of init pub. Okay, inside the local disk C there is a directory init pub. You can click open this directory, and here is www root, and here you can see an HTML document. So I'm gonna open this document, and I have to some write some uh, I have to edit this HTML document through to identify actual what which VM do you have, which VM you are accessing. Okay, so I'm gonna put here as inside the paragraph I'll doing that. So P is using for the paragraph, and I can write here this is the VM1, this is the VM1, and you can also use the closing tag. Okay, so and nothing you have to do extra, you have to control plus S, and then you have to close it, not a problem. And either you can also double click on that, though it is default open in this inside this server also. Either you can access through the your public IP outside from your server also. So it will take some time because it is outdated. Internet Explorer is no one using in this time, so that's why it will take some time to load, but still it is working. So I'm not gonna do anything here. I'm go outside from this. So let me check one time. So as you can see that I'm editing these things here. This is VM1, so it is visible here, and this is the actually default HTML pad that is showing here. You can edit according to yourself. You know HTML code, you can edit. So let's access these things outside from the this web server. So let's see. So as you can see that I configured the web server in VM1, and I copy this IP and I have to paste in this tab. Okay, control P, and you can see there, you can see here if it is accessible. So I can understand this is working fine. So as you can see that a code I have edited that is showing here, so I think it is working properly. Same way I have to done in VM2 also. I'm not doing here because I show all these steps in VM1. So accordingly you can do in the VM2 also. You can edit that code as this is VM2. Okay, and then we have to move forward. Yes. So as you can see that I'm also created same web server in VM2 also. So this is the VM2 IP address, and that I have to create it. So as you can see that in my Azure portal I have created two VMs. So I'm gonna virtual machine. So you can see that there is two VMs, VM1 and VM2, and this is VM1 IP and this is VM2 IP. So after creating this two VM and making it as web server, what you have to do next? First of all, we have to deassociate these IPs of the both VMs. Why? Because these two VMs is only accessible through the load balancer IP address. They don't these VM do not access through the on their own public IP address. So first of all, we have to deattach these IPs. So for that, what step you have to follow? Go on to VM1, and inside the networking, you have an NIC, network interface, and you have to click on that. That is the network interface. You have to click on that, and then you have to find the next option, that is IP configuration. So you have to click on this IP configuration, and there is a bottom, there is one line that is connect that is IP config 1 IPv4. You have to click on this line, and you can see that there is an option to disassociate. You have to click on this, and then you have to save. Same way you can do the VM2 also. So I'm also doing these things in VM1, and it will take some time. Okay, so I'm gonna VM, I'm gonna virtual machines, and cancel. It will take some time to save. Okay, so it is successfully saved now. Now I'm gonna virtual machine, and I'm doing the same thing in VM2 also. So VM2, I'm going to networking, and here is an interface. Okay, so you can IP configuration, and here you can deassociate. It will take actually it is some kind of slow in my laptop, so that will take some time to load the page. We can deassociate it and we can save it. So it will take some time to deassociate, and after the deassociating, you can see the virtual machine that there is no IP address inside the virtual machine. There is no public IP address. So now I'm gonna virtual machine, and you can see, guys, you can see here in a virtual machine. I'm gonna refresh. Okay, so there is no public IP here. So next step, what we have to do, we have to search, that is load balancer. Load balancer. So I'm gonna click on the load balancer, and we have to do the create our load balancer. So click on create, and click on create, and here you can take you can give the resource name as you want. So if you have a previous resource group, you can select that, and you have to select you have to give the load balancer name. So I'll create test hyphen load balancer. Load balancer. Okay, so I'm creating in the same region, so I'm selecting the option that is basic. Okay, so public load balancer I have to create it. Internal load balancer is created within the inside the virtual network. Actually, when the person wants to make our load balancer inside their organization, then we can do that type of load balancer, that is internal. So going to the next, that is the next configuration is front end IP configuration. So that is the main important concept of the load balancer. So here what you have to do, here you can add an IP, that is the IP, that is through this IP we can access the VM traffic. Okay, so I'll create that name as front IP, front hyphen IP. Okay, name as, and you can choose either, you can create. So I'm not you can choose this, I'm already created, so we can choose. Otherwise you can simply give a name and create. You can create. Okay, not a problem, it is not a big deal. You can simply create out new, and you can give the name, and either you want to dynamic or static, you can click and okay. Okay, So it is very simple, not a problem. You can create like this. Cancel. Okay, I'm gonna add this IP. So it is added. Now we have to do the next, that is backend pool. So backend pool is nothing but it is a adding of VMs in which the actually what we have to do, we have to write as backend back pool. What is back pool? Okay, so we have to select the virtual machine that you want, and according to that what you have to select the virtual network, and according to that virtual network it is automatically showing your machine. So I'm adding the machine. So this is showing two machines. If you are not disattached the IP address, so it will not showing here. So we can add these two virtual machines. So you have an option that is add, and you can add it. Okay, you can save it. So the next option that you have, that is the inbound rules. So you have to create the inbound rules. So inside the inbound rule you have to create the load balancing, and this is the most important concept of the load balancer. So we have to create the load balancing rule. So what you have to do, you have to simply put at rule 1, and IPv4 you have to select your IP with current IP that you have previously created, and you can select your backend pool name that you have previously created. Not at all, it is not a big deal. You can do simply that, and you can select the protocol, that is TCP. Either you can select UDP, but most probably you can select TCP, then it is better. So you can actually web server is running on port 80, so you can put that port 80, and backend port 80. You can backend is also you have to put port 80. Now you have to health probe. If you have health probe, then do not need to create. If you do not have, you can create new. Okay, so health probe name, that is I put at health 1, and you can select the protocol, that is TCP, and port is 80, and I give the interval time as a 5 second and create an OK. Okay, so it is selected default, and now session persistent according to yourself you can create, but I'm not giving any session persistent, and you can simply add this. Okay, and nothing you have to do extra. You have to simply click on outbound rules. You do not need to add anything. You can next tag, and just you have to next review and create. These are the some steps that you have to follow to create a load balancer. So after this, it is validation is passed. Now you can click on create. So now the load balancer is created. It will take some time to create, and so once the deployment is completed, you can see here it is completed. Now we have to go on the virtual machines. So as previously what we have to do, we have to disattach the IP. So now what you have to see here, this is an IP that is common for both the VMs. That is the load balancer IP that I have to create. That is the front end IP. Okay, that is the IP. These are the both the VM, both the web server are only accessible through this IP. So we can copy this IP, and then we can do verify either it is implemented or not. So we have to copy this IP, and now we have to open this in the two different browser, two different tabs. Okay, so I'm put in this tab one IP, control B, and also I put it in this tab control B. Okay, so let me enter, and here also let me enter. Okay, so now see guys, there is VM1 access, and there is also VM1. Now we have to make the refresh, refresh, and now I'm trying to in this refresh. Okay, let me create and let me do an another. This is also VM1. You can try. So now you can see that it is opening VM2 default VM. Okay, So it is according to yourself, it is transferred, it is distributed according to load, it is distributed. So it is not a problem, okay, in the infrastructure. You can see that, you can see here, it is also going to VM2. Okay, so now you can see here it is also going to VM2. Now I can see it is moving to VM1 or not. Okay, now you can see that this is moving to the VM1. So I hope are you guys getting the point, and you have to understand each steps in the load balancing, how to done the practical, and what are the load balancing actually you can understand is in this video. And now we are going to learn in the next video, that is the traffic manager. And see you in the see you in the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep supporting. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.